Guys, let me know if you can hear me, whoever's watching. The sound should be better. I've got a microphone hooked up, or it's no sound at all. The sound, hey guys, William, Rudy. So you can hear me. Is the sound better than last time? I've got a microphone hooked up to my iPhone, so hopefully it's better. Hey Ronnie, cool. Awesome. Hey Brian, how's it going? Good, good. Last few times the sound has been not that great, so wanted to make sure I was coming through loud and clear. I have not got as much done on the car as I wanted to. I'm gonna try to take the camera around here. It might freeze up for a second. I'm gonna try to take the camera around and show you some of the metalwork I've done on the inner quarter of this side. So let's try to get the camera around here, see if it'll pick up what I'm doing. So yeah, I got a little bit of the, I got all this done. I still got some grinding to do. I rebuilt this piece right here, some of the inner structure. So all right, we'll get that out of the way. A little sneak peek. I guess, did it freeze up? Probably froze up. Okay, the story on the truck. That's a 52 Ford F1, and my wife is helping me work on that one. She's going to do a lot of the work on that one. It's got to have a new floor. I've got a 351 and a C4 for it. It's got to have a new floor put in it. I'm going to do a Mustang 2 front end change on it. A bunch of stuff like that. It's going to be a long-term project. We're trying to keep it kind of ratty, but the interior and stuff like that, drivetrain to be nice. But I have, the bed was junk for it. That thing was sitting since 1965, and I pulled it out of the woods about 7 or 8 years ago, and we had to cut the door handle out of a tree. They had parked it, and the tree had grown up around the door handle. So I've got pictures, pretty cool. The door handle is still sticking out of the tree. So I paid $100 for that truck. So it'll be a fun truck. The problem is, I think the VIN on those was either on the frame or the glove box door. I do not have a VIN for that truck, so I'll have to figure out what to do there. Thanks, Donald. No problem, man. Yeah, that truck is I should have left it in the woods, but it's a cool truck. I like it. The front end's in pretty decent shape. It's still got a V8 in it, the flat head. It spins over, but it looks like the block is cracked. I haven't magnafluxed it or anything, but you can look around the valve seats and visibly see some cracks. I took the heads off and got the thing to spin over, but it's probably a junk block. Something sits for that long. We've had a few cold winters since 1965, and it's probably busted. Hope everybody's had a good week. The Braves are going to the World Series, so that's a good thing. Unless you're a Dodgers fan, that's a bad thing. Yeah, so I didn't get as much done on this car as I thought. Had a pretty busy week, but I did get that side pretty much buttoned up, and I've got the deck filler area all cleaned up. I got to put some, I still got to hit it with a wire brush, but I got all my welds and everything out of that, and I've got some measurements done for the other side of the inner quarter structure. So all the metal work will be done by Tuesday. Should be a video out Tuesday on all the metal work on the back. Maybe not all of it will be done by Tuesday, but by Wednesday it'll all be done. And then after Wednesday, I'm working on strictly mechanical stuff. So yeah, gonna go see my buddy Ronnie Tuesday afternoon. He said he should be home Tuesday and check out some of the stuff he's got. He's got a lot of Nova parts. So I'm gonna go look at his stuff and see what he's got. Check that out, see if I can find some stuff to help this project along. And if not, I've got, 6 or 7 other cars that I can buy stuff for. Is everyone getting the notifications as soon as I go live, or you get a community post when I post a picture? I'm not sure how that works. I know a lot of people after I go live, they post that they didn't get a notification, so I was just curious. And I think we're going to leave this mostly as is as far as paint. I know some people had talked about, you got it, Brandon? Okay, thank you. I know we talked about kind of primer and stuff in the last video. I'll do something to it. I might sand it down a little bit just because it's got some big flakes sticking off of it. And the factory black paint is under most of it, is still there, except for where it's down the metal places, but or it's got rust on it. But I'll do something to it, but I'm not going to try. Excuse me, dinner was good. I'm not going to try to. Not going to try to get the sand it down enough to primer it, probably. Well, if you put a little bit of horsepower with you in that Fox body, they're going to be fun to drive. They are. They're a lot of fun. It doesn't take much horsepower from one of those. What year is it? More people signing on. Y'all welcome to the live tonight. I was going to try to get another video, and thanks to everybody for checking out the floor pan video. I enjoyed doing that one. Turned out pretty good. And 88, cool. Hatch or notch? I'd like to find a notch back, but hey Tony, hey, I haven't been on very long, so you finally got here in time. Awesome. Yeah, I'd like to have a notch back Mustang, and I'd probably even put a Ford motor in it, but maybe not. Just depends on what I had laying around. I'm a Chevy guy, but everything's fun if you throw the right stuff at it. Hatch, yeah, nothing wrong with a hatch. Nothing wrong with a hatch at all. Hatches are cheaper, saves more money for horsepower, right? So yeah, the 69's coming along a little bit. It's I did find some more parts for it. I ordered I got my I got my windshield trim clips and rivets. I bought those. I don't have the rivets yet. The clips came in. I got those on eBay. I forgot in my last video to update the total, but I am up to. I spent another $300 on the floor pan patches, the deck filler, and leaf spring shackles. So I've still got, and transmission lines. So I've still got $2,856 left to spend to get this car ready. So hopefully that'll be enough money. And the transmission's pretty much done. I've got to get a converter, but that's $150, and then I've got everything I need for the transmission. So the big thing is going to be engine. I've got most of my suspension parts in bushings. Still got the windshield to put in there. That's going to be, right at $300. And when he comes out to do that, I'll get him to do the rear glass also. Just had that done to Franken Nova, and it was less than $300 for the front windshield and installation, plus putting the rear glass in while he was here. So wiring is going to cost me a little bit. The radiator's not that much. I've got a good deal on radiator I bought off Amazon. It's an aluminum radiator. It's the one I used on the test stand for the 307. Brian's starting back on his 71 next week. That's cool, man. Brian's got a shop up in Ohio, and he's doing some work on his car. And he's got he just picked up a 70 shell. He's got a 73 that I think he's got sold. And then he's got a 71 that he's pretty much doing everything on the back, the trunk floor, quarters, I think frame rails and all that stuff. So he'll probably post at some point, he'll probably post some pictures on the shop too on our Facebook page. The white elephant, what do I suggest for a front coil spring pound rating for a 3-day 3 with aluminum heads on a 71 Nova? What are you going to use it for? If you're using it for a lot of street driving, I've got 450s on my 73 Nova, and I like those pretty good. It's kind of a stiff spring, doesn't bounce a lot. It takes it easy. I've got coilovers on it, and I've got the shock set up. It handles real well on the front. The rear has Hotchkiss sport leafs on it, and then just a good Monroe shock, I think. You got one? Okay, cool. Street driving? Yeah. For street driving, 400 or 450, I wouldn't go anything lighter than a 400 pound. You get lighter than 400 and you're going to have a lot more movement in the front end. So a front coil spring, pretty much, the way it works is if you have a 400 pound spring, 400 pounds of weight will compress it 1 inch. So if the lighter spring you put on there, the more you're going to have to adjust your shocks up to get the ride height you want. And if you're not careful, you'll have less adjustment in the overall ride height if you get too soft of a spring. Now, the spring actually supports the suspension and lets it bounce. The shock basically just slows the action of the spring down. That's all it does. So I would, like I said, I like the 450 on my 73. It's got iron heads on it, but even with aluminum heads, you're probably not that big a difference as far as the, you know, it's not going to compress. The difference is going to be on a 450 pound spring rate. If it's a 50 pound weight difference, it's going to be 1/9 of an inch. Is going to be the difference in ride height if you have a 50 pound weight difference between aluminum heads and cast iron heads. Jeffrey Dean, hey, how's it going, man? So yeah, so you figure 450 pound inch compression. If 50 pounds would be 1/9 of 450, so right, 5 times 9, yeah, okay, yeah. Public schools, I gotta make sure my math is right. So yeah, so you'd have 1/9 of an inch that it would be the difference in aluminum heads and iron heads if it's a 50 pound difference. So I wish there was a bigger option of rear leaf springs. It's like you get sport springs or you get stock springs with who knows what ratio those are, and then you have the cow tracks. I think you can drive them on the street, but the split monos, I think they're mostly designed for drag racing, and they work great for that. But the other thing is to go to a 4-link. I would like to do a bolt-in 4-link in one of these cars. That'll be a good project one day. 25 watching now, so hope everybody's doing all right, signing on. Yeah, let's see, Thomas Grawl, any part recommendations for repair of broken seat adjuster brackets on front bench seat? Probably just about any bench seat around the same year from a GM probably has the same type of design, so it probably doesn't have to be Nova specific. Depends on what part you're talking about it's broke. Like I said, some of the full-size stuff, even though the seat frames are different, the adjustment style is usually really close to the same, or at least the same type. So I would kind of look and see what you mean. I'm not sure what part is, if it's just the pulling part on it or not. But yeah, like I said, it's most of all of your X-body cars that work. Any car with a bench seat in it, any of your Chevelle type stuff like that, I said it again, the foot brackets that go out, your sliders that the seat actually sits on, those are different, a lot of those seats, and the seats were the same other than the type of pattern they had on the material. Right side adjuster slide doesn't lock. Okay. Yeah, I would have to look at it and see how it is. Because I believe that the adjuster is on the driver's side and it actually pulls all the way across to the passenger side. So remove the seat and see if there's a cable or wire missing. It's been a while since I had a bench seat apart. Tyler C, love the channel. Got a 74 back in February. Cool, man. Hope you're doing a bunch of work to it or what? Run Racer, if I had a nice 354 main and an El Camino, would I swap it to an LS or keep the 350? Okay, I'm eventually going to do an LS swap in one of these cars. I have no hate for an LS. They are an amazing motor. They basically took everything cool about the regular small block and they made everything about it better. The blocks are stronger, the heads are amazing, and they're doing it with a really small bore in most of them. So, you know, that's my whole thing about the 307. A lot of people said, oh, 307s are junk. It's really cylinder head choice and compression, that's all. And you can adjust that if you spend enough money. But, to your question, I like conventional small blocks. The LS thing, I really thought was cool. I wanted to do it, and then so many people did it. Now I'm not anti-LS, but I want to do an LS swap. But it just seems like it's the tune port thing of the 90s. Everybody putting tune port stuff in their cars, and if you're doing the custom stuff, custom intake and stuff like that on the LS, it's great. I don't want to open the hood of a Nova, and if I'm insulting anybody with this, please forgive me. I don't want to open up the hood of a Nova and see the big black round Vortex plastic thing sitting in the thing. I want to see something. And look, there's nothing wrong with doing that until you get something else. But finishing it that way and just leaving all the stock stuff in there, it doesn't do it for me. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not my style. So, super bad gasser. How about it, man? A big block. I have a big block in the machine shop being built now. And originally, that 69 was going to get the 307 for the grudge race. But since that turned into pretty much a full-on, complete rebuild with new trunk floor, I mean, it got stupid in a hurry. What I'll do, the 307 for the grudge race is going to go in Franken Nova because it's pretty much the same setup I was going to have in that car. Same gear in the rear end, pretty much the same weight of the car. The only difference is it'll be a Turbo 400, which is a disadvantage for me against my buddy Craig, which he just had a baby. Or technically his wife had a baby. It's 2021, but still his wife had a baby. He just had that, so we're going to try to get that race in this year, but I'm going to put the 307 in Franken Nova, and the big block in the machine shop is going in that car. It's a 454. Yes, the new ZZ632 crate motor. I want one of those so bad I can't stand it. The only thing I don't like about it is it looks like, from the pictures, it looks like it has symmetrical port heads, which means it's going to have some proprietary stuff from GM, an LS style big block head or something like that. Which if you just buy it, bolt it and stick it in there, that's fine. But I would want something like week or drag week with. I plan on taking Franken Nova to drag or race next year, maybe drag week. So if I had a big block to put in like that, it'd be great because it's a ton of power and it's very streetable, very reliable. But if you break on the side of the road, you know, it's going to be difficult to find a Q38 plutonium core from AutoZone for your spaceship. Yes, it sounds killer. After all these years of wrenching on rebuilding noses, did you ever imagine you'd be helping build this following the way you are? It's got to feel pretty good. You know, a lot of people, I'm pretty humble about this. A lot of people tell me I've helped them so much, and a lot of my videos I feel like are incomplete. They're not as good as they should be, and I'm extremely flattered that I've helped people. But I look at some of what I've done as a jumbled up mess. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I didn't think I'd be doing this. You know, I started watching Roadkill years ago, and saw some stuff like that. I was like, you know, I started watching it and made me want to start working on my stuff more often. At the time I was having my shop built, and my wife bought me a GoPro, and she said, here, go film some of it. You watch Roadkill and stuff like that all the time, some of these car shows. You know, some of the car shows are fake, you know, a bunch of drama on there that's stupid, but, you know, stuff like Roadkill, she's like, you can do this, go do it. So I started doing the videos, and you know, I've done a lot of, a few of them have been in depth, and I didn't really plan on them being how-to videos, more of a, hey, watch me do this stupid stuff, and it's, you know, it's worked out well for me. I really enjoy it. It is very satisfying to make a video and get it out, even though it's very aggravating to make a video sometimes. $270 Nova's drag cars are, been sitting in the carport for years. Where is Deerfield Beach, Florida? Is that west? Is that on the coast or is it on the Gulf? Brian is doing floors, frame rails, trunk pan, drop off, cross rail, quarters, and tailpipe. He's buying a new Nova from here back. That's what he's doing. It's going to be a lot of work. Thank you, Tony. Joe Harrington. Okay, yeah, I just talked about that. I am going to do an LS, and when I do that, it'll probably be a turbo at some point, but I am going to do an LS swap in one of these cars. I'm not sure which one yet. What I've got planned is the 307 going in one of them at one point. I've got an LS swap I want to do. I've got a big block that's going in one of these back here. I've got another small block I'm going to do in this one, so just a 350, I hope. So it depends. Southeast. Okay, so that's down closer to I guess below Cocoa Beach, somewhere over there, down near Fort Lauderdale. Because I don't think Deerfield, I'm pretty familiar with most of the stuff all the way down to Daytona, so I don't remember Deerfield being up that way. The rear light panel replacement, Richard. I am going to do a patch on this one right now, so it's not going to be that in depth because I'm just going to patch the top of it. It would probably be a lot easier to just replace the panel, but there's not a 68, 69 panel available that I can find right now. So I'm going to do some bead rolling and some hammer forming and make a trunk gutter and weld it to this one and try to make it look like I knew what I was doing when I did it. But at some point, yes, I want to do a whole series of all the sheet metal replacement on one of these cars. And I've got several of them that need everything, so it'll be a good thing. But I want to have one video to start to finish changing a quarter panel on a car. And then another video doing a deck filler, another video doing a taillight panel. The problem is you get one car in here and it needs a quarter panel and an outer rear house, and it needs the deck filler, and it needs a taillight panel. So if I do the quarter panel, as soon as I get it off, I've got to do the outer wheelhouse, and then I got to do the deck filler panel. So it kind of turns into a snowball trying to get everything figured out how you're going to frame the video and get the video just about being a quarter panel. And then you got to figure out, well, how far in the video am I going to go and how much detail am I going to go into? Because some of it is kind of self-explanatory, and some of it, no matter how much I show you in the video, until you get the car in front of you and start cutting stuff off, it's not going to make a lot of sense. That's right, Rabbit Transit. The worst they can do is say they're not for sale. And I tell you what, there's been several cars around here over the last 25 years that there's one in Macon, Georgia. It's probably still there. I haven't been in that neighborhood in a while, but probably 7 or 8 years ago, I told one of my employees, I was like, I was riding down and I've driven past this car for 15 years at least. And it was been sitting in the yard. I pulled up one day, I said, you know what, we're going to buy that car. Go up there and knock on the door. He got halfway to the front porch, turned around and walked back. And I was like, what? He said, there's a note on the door that said the Nova is not for sale, go away. So apparently they had a lot of people knocking on the door all the time. So that note looked like it had been there for a long time. Yes, that's one of the things, Tony, I was talking about. I started doing a wiring harness on Franken Nova, but since I was putting the whole car together, the problem was I was put part of the wiring harness in for a video, and then I got to build some more of the car to put the rest of the wiring harness in. So what I'll probably do on this one is I'll probably get the whole car assembled and then put the wiring harness in, just so I can do a wiring harness swap on a existing car instead of having it all taken apart. Because it's different to do one on a car that's complete and one that's completely blown apart. It's much easier and harder if it's blown apart. Favorite small block or big block? I like small blocks. I love big blocks too. If you get some compression in a big block, there's nothing like the sound of a high compression big block with a good cam on it, and they just make stinking power. I mean, they just make a ton of power. But I like small blocks, and I like 350s. 383s are great, nothing wrong with them. I would like to build one. I've actually got a crankshaft sitting back here for one, and I've got a block that's going to be clearanced at the machine shop. But I like small blocks. I like 350s. I like hearing RPMs, but you start turning over about 6,500 RPM, you start having to buy really expensive parts, or you're going to scatter it. Wow, 40 people, almost 40 people watch. Good. So yeah, some people will let them rot before they sell them. Big dreams. Yeah, and you know that's something with these cars. That's kind of what the deal with this project is. A lot of people, Rabbit Transit said, talking about some cars he knows that have been sitting, like old drag cars, sitting in somebody's barn or carport or something in Florida, and they've been there for years. And a lot of people will sit because a project like this is daunting, and doing it in 45 days is stupid, but it's going to be fun. And I'm not trying to restore the car, I'm trying to build the car. You know, and I've had a few comments where people, you know, it's a waste of time to do this or that, the way you're doing it, and it might be, but it's not a big deal to me because I'm not doing an unsafe patch job on the floors. I'm just doing I wouldn't call it a hack job either. I mean, it's a halfway decent job. There's nothing wrong with patching one that way. And the opposite of that is replacing the whole floor. And most people would need to take it to a shop to do that. A lot of you guys and me, you know, you'll tackle it yourself, and what you don't know, you'll learn. But then some guys, they want it done completely right, factory style, and nothing patched in. Everything's got to be butt welded if it is. Nothing wrong with that, but in the scope of this build, I'm not going to do anything that nice. And eventually, it'll probably get a new floor in it and a new trunk pan, new quarters, all that stuff, unless I sell it beforehand. Yes, I try to buy AMD on all of my body panels for two reasons. Number one, they're in Georgia, and Goodmark used to be in Georgia, and then they moved to Kansas or somewhere. But the AMD stuff, all the stuff I have bought fits very well. Now, the roof skin that I put on that 69 is a Goodmark roof skin. As far as I know, there's only really one or two companies making most aftermarket parts, and I know AMD has their own tooling. Goodmark and Dynacorn probably have different tooling, and then everybody else is one of those sold under a different brand. I think AMD doesn't let anyone else buy their stuff, but a lot of the companies are importing from the same company, and everybody's sharing the tooling. A lot of companies are sharing tooling, but the AMD stuff, it fits well. Haven't had any issues with any of it fitting. Most of the time when people have issues with the parts fitting, it's the fact that you've got a 40-year-old car or 45-year-old car that is twisted and rotten and rusted away, and a NOS panel probably wouldn't be a lot easier to fit. It'd fit better, but it probably wouldn't be a lot easier to install. I know body guys hate some of this overseas sheet metal, but I really think we're fortunate to have the sheet metal that we have for these cars. It's saving a lot of cars. And if I've got to put some Taiwanese quarter panels on it, you know, so be it. I'd rather do that than cut up a savable car to get one, or pay $1,200 a piece for NOS panels. Yeah, Donald, I agree. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that the deal is like we was talking about with his cars. He's talking about his cars rotting. You know, watching roadkill a lot, like I'm sure a lot of you guys do. Freiberger always says, you know, running junk is better than rotting junk. So get it running, get it driving, and enjoy it. And like I've said before, too many people get a car home. They have all these things about making it perfect and shaving the door handles and shaving the lights and, you know, cleaning it all up. Sometimes they get the whole car blasted, and then it sits there and rust, and they don't do anything with it, or they realize they're in over their head, or money, or family, or whatever. Health, everything changes, and the car sits there. So, you know, my point with this build is to try to get it done cheap, fast, and fun. And, you know, I'm going to get at least two of those out of it. Jerry Metters, yes, apparently he's done some Dynacorn stuff, and it fit pretty well. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of, like I said, the Goodmark roof skin, it fits well, and I have bought actually the tail panel for my 73 was a Goodmark because AMD doesn't make one. And every brand of tail panel that I've seen for the 73 is the exact same piece. Doesn't matter if it's Goodmark, Dynacorn, or whoever. And what they have is they have on the driver's side, you're facing me, driver's side above the tail lights, that panel is twisted in a little bit and the body line's not quite right. And it took a lot of work when I replaced mine to get it to fit correctly. A first gen Chevy 2, no, I've never owned a 62 to 67. I had a chance a few years ago to buy one, and I say a few years, like 15 years ago, I had a chance to buy a 62, but at the time it was fairly rusty and none of the panels were available. So it might have been longer than 15 years ago, but there wasn't a lot of stuff available for those, and it was fairly rusty. But looking at it now, it was a very restorable car. So it could have sat around for a long time. Would have been. Meters, so that's correct, and I guess a lot of people screw that up. I bet they say meters or something like that. Meators. I bet there's 20 different ways you can screw that name up. Geneseo, right? Did I say that right, Tony? My teachers always got my name wrong. I got called Gilbert, Gilmore, Gillum, just all kinds of stuff. If they spelled it, if they wrote it right, they'd put one L in it instead of two. Brandon Garrett, what is your favorite year of the Novas? What do you think of the 75, 79 Novas? My favorite year is 73. It's the year I was born. I've had my 73 Nova the longest of all my cars, and me and my dad worked on that before he died in the 90s. So not a bunch, but you know, it was my daily driver, so I got to work. So we had to work on it to fix it if I needed to go to work. But 73 is my favorite, like I said, for those reasons. And then I like all year Novas. I love the Disco Novas. I would love to build a 75 to 79. If I had a 79, I'd swap it to the lights. Geneseo. Is it Geneseo? Geneseo? There you go, Tony. Yeah, so he's a 70s model also, like me. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. Uh-oh. Hang on, video froze up. All right, that should fix the video. Geneseo. All right, is the video better now? Cool. Okay. Yeah. My phone gets notifications on it and it stops. I don't know why it does that. I stopped working on the car for about 2 hours today and tried to get internet working down here again. I guess I'm going to have to get the. I guess I'm going to have to get the cable company over here and fix this. 77, 396 in it that I built. Cool. And for the headers for that, you probably use headers for Camaro, right? The 75 to 79 Novas, yeah, they're going to get a lot more popular. It's a two-door GM car, rear-wheel drive, and it's not a terrible looking car. I don't think they'll get the money that the third gens have gotten to, not for a while, but and maybe not ever. But they'll come. It's like the Mopar stuff. Some people just want a two-door rear-wheel drive V8 capable Chevy or Pontiac or Ford, and once all the cheap cars go away, people that can't afford a 69 Camaro started buying Novas. People that couldn't afford a 70 Camaro started buying 78 Camaros, 70 through 73 Camaros. You know, they're still high dollar. And now the 74 through 81 Camaros have gone way up in price. But yeah, I think they'll get more popular. I'm not sure how much they'll get as far as value wise, but they'll get worthy. The driver's door window mounts to the regulator. The door has a I'm going to look stupid here. What year is your car? If it's a third gen, you've basically got a track at the bottom of the window, and I think you have, it's a glued in channel that the window kind of glues into that goes in the bottom, and your regulator fits in that channel. You've got wheels that go in there, and that's what moves it up and down. You've got a channel in the front that's got the weather strip in there that it slides up in, and then but as far as that's just the track it rides on. As far as the regulator is concerned, it's just got the two wheels that go into the channel at the bottom of the glass. And let's see. Yeah, so apparently Classic Industries started carrying the 75, 79 Nova parts, a bunch of specific parts for those. So thanks, Donald, for letting us know that. Yeah, the 69 SS390 fixed 4-speed. That's the cool car, and I've never had a 4-speed car. Not a Nova. I've had other cars that were. Hopefully that helps 6-speed. I'm sorry, it's been a little while since I had one of these apart, and I just can't picture it in my mind. Yeah, the 68 was the last year that they called it a Chevy 2. Originally, I think that there was going to be Nova was a body style, Chevy 2 was the car, and Nova was going to be a trim package. I think is how that worked. Maybe it's the opposite of that. And when they came out with the 68, they called it the Chevy 2 Nova, and then after that year they dropped it and just went to the Chevrolet Nova. And the 68, you know, if you guys don't know, a lot of you already do, you know, it has a different dash. The key is not on the column, it's in the dash. It's got the round AC vents. It's just a cool looking dash. Little Chief is looking for a 68, yeah. And they're 68s are money. I know where a 4-door is. I need to stop when I'm back over that area next time. I need to stop and see if I can buy it out of their yard. It's been sitting there for a while. 71 and a 69 now. Little Chief does. Cool. And if my phone starts to go dead, I'm going to have to disconnect the microphone and hook the charger up. Can the dash conversion? I don't know, Tony. It's I've always just had one in the column, so I did it. I just dealt with it. I mean, I'm sure you could buy one and convert it, but you'd have to make a panel for the dash. Is anyone here planning on being? I know somebody or a couple people last week was planning on being at the Daytona Turkey Rod Run. The Rusty Nut is about to buy 2 more 68 to 72 Novas with a bus full of parts. You need some help going through it? I'll do a collaboration with you, man. We'll come over there and go through it. I need to find some other channels and do collabs with when I have time. My schedule is just so wacky that doing that is difficult. Current drivetrains options I'm thinking about for your current project. Okay, for this I already have a Turbo 350 transmission that I'm going to rebuild, and I'm actually going to take it apart right now. The plan is next Sunday, a week from today, I'm going to have a buddy over here helping with the camera and the phone. We're going to have the internet sorted out. I'm going to disassemble and inspect the Turbo 350 on the live Sunday night thing. And then I'll get it cleaned up, and then I'll rebuild it for a video and, you know, have it, I'll probably film it and do the live thing at the same time so I can do a rebuild video on it. I've never rebuilt an automatic transmission before. I've worked on some of them, I've had them apart, but as far as doing a rebuild, I've never done one. So that's going to be embarrassing. I hope not, but maybe. And so I've got a Turbo 350 planned for this, and then a small block, just because it's going to be super easy to find a small block. Whether I go with, I already know where 2 or 3 305s are. supposed to go see one of you guys, Ronnie. I'm supposed to go see him this week, and he's got an engine that may be a good option. I'm going to look at it, see, and then there's always something on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Just, I'd rather buy it from somebody that I kind of knows what's going on, or that I know, you know, would just tell me the truth about it. Sometimes people selling stuff, you kind of just assume the worst and hope for the best. Oh, next Sunday is Halloween. Yeah. Maybe not. Well, might do a Saturday night or something then. We might do a Saturday Night Live. Kevin Killian. Killian, I'm not sure. Sorry if I screwed it up. Don't know anything about sheds. Love watching videos. Keep it the good work. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it, buddy. Northern Maine. Yeah. I'm not near Northern Maine for about 7 months, I think. Even in the summer, I don't think it gets hot up there. Northern Maine, there's nothing in North. How did anybody get Nova up there? Aren't y'all like separated from the rest of the world for 6 months out of the year? What about the rear end? I've got an 8.2 that has a 273 gear. I'm gonna try to find another rear end. And actually, the guy I'm going to see about the motor also he's got several parts, so I'm going to see what he has. But what I'm doing is, if I'm using parts that I already have, like the 8.2 rear end, I found 2 or 3 8.2 rear ends for $150, and I'm just going to deduct $150 from my available budget and use that. That way, it still comes out of the budget, but it doesn't cost me any money out of pocket, unless one of the rear ends, because I need to open that thing. It's been sitting around since 1995, so yeah, I need to look at that. Killian, how it's pronounced, like the beer. Okay, cool. Looking for plastic dust cover on the bottom of an AC car. It's from a 61. Okay, bottom of what on AC? Or plastic dust cover for like the transmission? I'm not sure what you're saying there. Sorry, little chief. Tony's in Maine. Who else is in Maine? Nebraska here. Hey, I like Nebraska, Joe. Mexico, Juan Palos. Is it Palos or Palos? Palos? Thanks for watching, Juan. Russ and Doug. He's about 10 minutes from Canada. Wow. Yeah, that is, from what I understand, northern Maine is really a wilderness, very sparsely populated. Under the radiator. Oh, okay. I know something now. I don't know where to get one of those, man. Palos. Okay, got you. Thank you, sir. Okay, let me check my battery real quick. Hang on just a second, guys. Thank you, Juan, for watching. I appreciate it. Hang on just a second. All right, can you still hear me? Can you guys still hear me? Lexington, North Carolina? Yes, okay, cool. Good. Yeah, Nebraska, man, yeah, it's like 550 miles wide and it's got 6 exits. Yeah, I'm going to do a cross-country drive with my Nova one day. Tommy Cook, yeah, my rear end, the one that's in here has multi-leaf on it, and the leaf springs, I haven't looked real close, they look like they're okay. The 8.2 that I've got is a mono-leaf, but I have the leaf springs also. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it, or if I'm going to buy a rear end from Ronnie, or if I'm going to find somewhere else. I would much rather have an 8.5, but for what I'm going to do with this car, an 8.2 is fine. Kissimmee, Florida. Kissimmee, right? Thought about, I'm going to do a full back half on that car, 4-link, full tub, the whole deal. That'll be in the future. Andrew Button, hey, how you doing, buddy? On this one, I'm not sure if that's the one you're asking about. This one is going to be a 350, I hope. It'll be a small block. I'm sure I could come across a 350. I have not found an engine for it yet. Houston, Texas. All right. Hey, Derek from It's Either Going to Work or It Ain't Garage. Like the name. New subscriber. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Lumberton, North Carolina. I got guys all over the place. Most of my views come from California and Texas. When you go into YouTube Analytics, you can go in and look at where all of your views come from geographically. And Texas, California are the top two. And then it's really all over the place. And then Brazil, New Zealand, Mexico, different countries, UK. Well, I need to come to Arkansas. What's up, Brian Mizell? I need to come get that if you got one for sale. He's in Fort Smith, Arkansas, if I remember correctly. I spent a night there once. There's a good steakhouse. Can't remember the name of it. It's right off the interstate. From Michigan. Cool. Yep, 350 with a 350 transmission. For Shandy Clark, got a 70 note that needs to be restored. Aroostook County, which I believe is larger than the entire state of Rhode Island. Yeah, one day I would love to open a shop and do this kind of stuff, but I've got to be able to transition. I got to be able to make my money on YouTube first. Bought a 74 in September. Already put a positive 373 gears in it. New tires. Working on a $700 force swap. I'm not sure if the ShiftWorks ShiftWorks sells a lot of shifter stuff for the factory ones, and I think they make a factory style floor shifter or something like that for a $700 for plate style. If not, I mean, B&M and then they both make an automatic shifter that's pretty good for that. The floor pans come out great. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Nine miles south of Fort Smith, Hackett. Okay, I got you. And then, what part of Mexico are you in, man? Leapmo. Yeah, okay, yeah, the $700 force swap. No problem, Leapmo. And, I've never had a $700 for a car. I've got a 4L60 I'm going to build, and I'll probably either get a gear vendor's and put on the Turbo 400 that's in Frankenova, or I'll go with a JX Performance 4L80E for that car if I really start making any power with it. I want an overdrive in it so I can do drag week, race week, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it'd be nice to have a transmission that's easier to work on and just put a gear vendor's on it. But I don't know what I'm going to do there yet. The 700R4, I'm afraid of those because you got to get the throttle valve cable adjusted right to keep your line pressure up. And there may be some mods where you don't have to do that, but I would be afraid I would get that out of adjustment and burn my transmission up so that my hydraulic pressure was down and I'd be burning it up. Jalisco, cool. I think that's a southern state in Mexico, right? Is it closer to Honduras, I think? I'm not sure. Spent a lot of time in Chimpandu, Johnson, Masters, keep carrying on background. Hey, Tony, you guys talk about Delaware all you want. I'm just kidding. I know it's Maine. Cool, Brian. Actually, I may be in that vicinity at some point. I might get with you on that. I'll message you. Have you worked on your car any? I know you. And are you going to SEMA? I was going to go, but can't. Yeah, the 700R4 adjustment, you got to get it right. If you don't, you can burn the transmission up in a couple of miles. My buddy Craig just got the Dart. He has one in a Buick, and the cable popped off, and he literally drove about 3 miles home and smoked the transmission. Lunar Outlaw, Brian from Lunar Outlaw's Garage is here. It's like royalty just stepped in. Everybody parted out. I'm just kidding. Y'all go check out Lunar Outlaw Garage page, man. He's got some cool stuff going on there. He's building a drift truck. He's got a satellite that he built. It's like a Mad Max satellite. He he's done some cool things. He's got a Jay-Z and Beyonce swap going on in one of his cars, something like that. Red Wing, okay, cool. 72 Dart, yeah. I'd like to have it like a 72, 73 Duster. Yeah, as long as you have the right parts, the 700 works great. Puerto Vallarta, okay, cool. I probably butchered that too. Yeah, Lunar Outlaw Brian up there, he's in upstate New York, I think, and me and him need to get together and do a cool collaboration. But our schedules and weather and the COVID lockdown, I think they built a wall around New York for COVID. So he was, last I talked to him, he was trying to cut a hole in the wall to get out and go to Canada, where it's safe. I'm getting crazy here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and I prefer my Novas, definitely. The Rust Belt, yeah. Yeah, up there in these, you get up some of them states you guys have with the salt that they put on the roads. It's unbelievable the amount of, we'll see cars here in Georgia going down the interstate that are from Michigan or New York or somewhere like Ohio, and just the side will be rusted way up here, which is, and you're talking about a car that's 5 years old, it's crazy. They lodge you up again? Oh goodness. Or they're trying to again? Joe, but yeah, the cars, when I was in Nebraska, the cars I saw in Nebraska were rusty, but they didn't seem like they were, it was all surface rust. Every car there is dark brown, don't get me wrong. There's no paint at all on it, but the metal looks pretty solid. Grumbly Kitten 68, Northwest Georgia. Well, hey, you're not far from me. A few hours. Northwest Georgia, so you're up near Trenton, Rome, that area. Yeah, and everything here, the biggest problem we have here in Georgia is the humidity. So everything rusts year round here. It rains all the time, not all the time. It's not Seattle. It rains a lot. We also have a ton of pine straw, that kind of crap from trees, and these cars weren't meant to last 50 years. And your windshield trim right here will get the debris around those, and it'll sit there and it'll hold moisture, keep it there longer. It takes a while to dry out. Your window fuzzies, your felts on your window, they crack. Stuff gets down in the doors and the corners. It rots it all out. It doesn't take 50 miles from Rome. Okay, cool. It doesn't take much. Brandon Garrigus, what we're going to run. Okay, so on. More sad. Yeah, you're right, Brian. My current combination plan for this current project. Okay, so this is going to get a 350 with a 350 trans. The rear end is going to be whatever gear I can get, and excuse me, since the engine is going to be either used, or if I find a used one that I have to rebuild a little bit, just re-ring it. I'm going to do a super cheap re-ring job or something on. It's either going to be used or it's going to be a super cheap re-ring, so I'm not going to have any kind of performance gear in there. If I get a 276 or a 308, that'll be what it is. Keep the RPM down driving it to Florida. Now I can go Highway 41 instead of 75 and I-10 to Florida, and that'll keep the RPMs down, but it'll take me an extra couple hours. So I'll probably end up with like a 276 or a 273 or a 308 gear. All right, let's see. Garage at 7,000 feet in Colorado. No salt, just mud, snow, and magnesium chloride. Yeah. 7,000 feet in Colorado. What part of Colorado are you in? You around like 7,000 feet. You're probably in the northern part of the state, right? I'm not sure. I think I was thinking the southern part of the state's a little lower than that. Your ex-wife is from Stone Mountain. Yep, it's hot here. Chris Morlock, any ideas fabricating my own interior panels? Carl was gutted and used his drag car. Yes, I do have some ideas. I don't have one laying around here, I don't think, but depending on what you want to do and what you want to look for. The top rail of these panels, if you take the skin off of them, the metal rail still has the place for the window felt, and you can actually make your own panel out of either MDF, press board, cardboard, depends on what kind of board you want to use, or aluminum, and fasten it to that, and then put vinyl or something over top of it, or leather, or goat skin, or ostrich, whatever you want to use. And you can put that over there and make your own panel that way. If you can get the metal pieces. So if you can't get them, and a lot of times if you find someone that's putting new door panels in there, ratty, that one top piece is good enough to use a door panel out of. And I do plan on doing a video on doing that with a car, doing door panels like that. Everything quacks. Man, is my video freezing up again? Why is it running so slow? Maybe it's just this bad. Okay. Don't run for bus because keeps pushing me building car. Everything quacks. Well, thank you, sir. Yeah. I don't want to scrap any cars. I like building them, and some rust is unavoidable and have to be cut out. Some cars are not savable, but it takes a lot to scare me away. Needs a floor pan replaced, a 66 Chevy 2. Yeah, that's the best chance, the best thing to do with something like that is replace it. Well, it depends on how bad it is. Replace the whole floor. It depends on how, if you're going to do it yourself or you're going to pay someone. A Chevy Caprice motor and trans. Around here, Chevy Caprices go for pretty good money. That would actually be an expensive route to take. I've looked at buying, because you could get the 90s with the LT1s and stuff in them, but here they go for a pretty good bit of money. Not sure why, but those cars here, there's just, those and the Crown Vics are both very popular. 72 Nova has a passenger floorboard, has a hole in it. Is it in the footwell or the toe area? Which part of the, because the grumbly kitten, the toe panel comes down a part of the firewall and goes into the floor, and right there where they meet, that's a pain in the butt area to repair. It's either going to work or it ain't. Yeah, the rust in Michigan is terrible from the salt. Funny thing is, guys up here trying to fix cars that are 25 times worse than they junk out west. Yeah, I know. I've seen Fort Collins. Okay, I got you, Lima. Yeah, you know, I remember watching Hot Rods by Boyd or whatever, American Rod or whatever the TV show was with Boyd Coddington on it. And they had a 55 or 56, a Tri-5 Chevy. They brought it in and they took it and had it dipped or blasted, whatever they did. And I remember them saying that the car was so rusty that it was just going to the junkyard. And I remember just about puking because the car was, for a Georgia car, man, we'd have fought over it. It'd have been a nice car to have in Georgia. And in California, I guess that's junk, or at the time it was. And I'm like, man, that's a nice car. So, how many Novas do I currently own, Brandon Carey? Okay. So I've got 4 right here. I've got 2 outside, this one and that one. So I got 69, 69, 74, 73. I've got a 72 and a 72 on the other side of the building. And then I've got a 71 that I just started cutting up that had no VN, and I had already cut the car in half. I had to cut a couple pieces out of it. My buddy Brian up in Ohio needs an inner quarter structure that I wasn't going to use on that car, so I cut that out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got one more storage. That's 8. And then if my wife is watching, I don't have any more cars somewhere else that you don't know I bought yet. Now, so yeah, so 7.5, 8, not including. And then I have my Henry J, this 51 Henry J. I've got the 52 Ford right here. I've got another 53 Ford truck that my brother-in-law gave me. It's still an hour from here, sitting in their field, at their farm. And I'll get to that one day. And then I've got my wife's got a 78 Camaro that's got like it's got like 60,000 original miles on it. Shane Clark, think you can make some videos of tips how to welding, replacing panels, repairing rust. Yeah, I'm not a fantastic welder, but I can tell you some good ideas, some tips on how to replace rust. But I don't do a bad job at it. I do a lot of, I have to do a lot of it twice. Is really, there's guys that are professionals that do a lot of body panel replacement, and they do it, take their time and get it right the first time, very careful, and that's how you should be. Sometimes I get in a hurry, and you know, when you're welding new metal to new metal or new metal to good old metal, it's not difficult. You just have to use a low amp setting, a thin wire, and you have to, one good tip I can go ahead and tell you now is when you're welding, it's really tedious to do, but when you weld a very small tack on a butt weld or a lap weld, it doesn't matter which one you're doing. When you weld a very small tack, that creates a lot of heat. The smaller diameter wire that you use for welding creates a less heat than a larger diameter. So with a larger diameter welding wire, you actually have more current flowing through before the wire melts. What happens with even with a smaller wire, when you tack it, you end up with a little ball on the end of your wire of molten welding wire. And now you have more surface area, so it creates more heat than a cutoff wire. So if you're really going to get tedious about it, you can take some pliers and cut the little ball off each time to where you're using a smaller piece of wire and then using really small gauge wire anyway. And that kind of stuff will keep you from blowing holes, creating as much heat, warping panels, and stuff like that. But, you know, move around the panel a lot, wait. If you get in a hurry, you're going to have problems welding thin metal. But yeah, I could probably do a video about that one day. Quick question, I'm looking at everything quacks. I'm looking for a back seat for 76 Nova and I can't seem to find anywhere. Do I know what chance seat would work in a 76 Nova rear car? What would interchange? As far as I know, the rear seats on the 68 to 74 Novas don't interchange with any other cars other than other X bodies. The four-door seats are different. As far as I can tell, the seat back on a four-door is the same or really close. At least the frame is. The bottom is different because when you open up the door, it's curved so you can get your legs in and sit in the seat. But the rear seats on these are hard to find. I've got to find one for this, and I don't know where I'm going to find one. I've got 3 seat frames. If I can't find a seat for this, and I'm talking about just a bare frame, no metal, no cloth, anything. If I can't find a rear seat for this, I'm going to take one of those frames. I'm going to have to find a price for one so I can adjust my budget to deduct that from my available money so that I'm keeping this as honest as I can keep it. Juan Palos, a lot of subscribers in Mexico actually get together and watch my videos. Man, well, that I'm embarrassed now. But thank you very much. That is pretty awesome, man. Everything quacks. It's not a problem. Not a problem. There's some of them I can't repeat when they log on. A 72 rear bumper on a 74. Okay. Now I've done that swap. I don't know if you've seen that video, Chris. I've done the swap where I did the entire taillight panel from the 74 to the 72 style. And I changed the gas tank. I did not change the trunk floor, but I did modify the rear crosswell so I could put the gas tank in. And then I just built a spacer for the passenger side where the gas tank on a 73, 74 is taller. If you want to do the bumper and, let's see, you like the tail lights, I like the tail lights on the 72, 74. Run the gas tank. You could still do the same thing. You could fill in the tail light, the license plate area on the 73, 74. You could fill that in, modify the cross rail, and then still put the 69 tank in or 69, 72 tank in. You're just going to have to build a spacer to go between the trunk floor and the tank. Now what I did was I used 73, 74 straps, and then I used a 69 tank in Frankenova, and that way the straps are the right length because the strap is longer on the passenger side on 73, 74. Since I used the stock floor, I just built a spacer for the difference that followed the contour of the floor, and I just bent some U-channel with some flanges on it and screwed that to the floor and used that basically. I've seen people use wood. I wouldn't suggest that, but and the video froze again. Man, that's getting on my nerves. Let me see what's going on here. Sorry. My phone. Okay. But yeah, so you can fill in the license plate part, put the other bumper on there, and then do the gas tank modification. You can do that. Brightening up an instrument cluster. I am going to do an LED conversion on one of those. I'm going to try to do an LED conversion on one of those and see how it looks. I'm not sure yet. There are LED bulbs you can do. I know 2 or 3 people on the some of the Nova groups on Facebook have tried have done that, and it looked really good. I'm not positive which bulbs they use, but I think they make a dash bulb replacement that is LED. Anything's possible. Put this. Yep, a 71 Nova tail lights in a 77. That's pretty cool. Planning on doing an at-home paint job video on any cars? Yes, I am going to do an at-home paint job on that 69. That's going to be we'll see how bad I am at painting. But yeah, there's a lot you can do to these cars. The 68 through 74, a lot of that stuff interchanges, and the overall structure is the same, so a lot of it can be made to work. You know, the bumpers and the gas tank and stuff on the back. Any Braves fans here? Any of you guys watch the game last night? But yeah, on this one, you know, this one I'm not trying to get it. I'll probably, if I get a 350, if I get a good running 350, then I might leave it alone. If I don't, and I have to do anything to it, I'll probably put a camshaft in it. But if it's a good running one, I'll look at it real hard to make sure that the cam's okay, and I'll leave it alone. That's right, Clark. They're going to Shane Clark. They're going all the way. The rear shock relocation bars. Okay, so what I'm going to plan on doing, I'm going to try. Don't hold me to this, because I'm a busy guy, and my dreams and expectations sometimes outweigh my abilities. But I want to get a plasma cutter, and I want to start building some shock relocation kits for these cars that aren't junk. Some of the other ones available aren't junk. Some of them are really good for racing, and then some of them are junk. And then a few of them, they're not so much junk, but what I like about the relocation thing I did on Frankenova is that I'm using factory shocks. So I can go wherever and buy a factory shock, whether it's adjustable or whatever, and I can put it in that car. Plus, if you lower the shock mounting point, if you raise the car up at all, a lot of you guys like the raised up look, nothing wrong with that. If you raise it up at all, it lowers your shock, so you have more extendability. You need some type of, you still need to have some shock travel in both directions. So whether it's compression or rebound, you need to have some shock travel available. And a lot of those shock relocation kits, they get the shock where you have very little compression, or you have it's up so far with the stop location that you have very little rebound. Now, some of them turn the shocks in a whole bunch, and you have to use the Camaro shocks with the different tips on them, and then that changes the way a shock works, to be honest with you. But yeah, I want to do I want to sell some kits like that. What would I say a good solid 68, 72 Nova roller with factory power steering, brakes, and air conditioning would go for? If it's solid factory power steering, brakes, and air conditioning, go for. Man, okay, does it have interior? Because interior will nickel and dime you to death. You know, not having a back seat, that can be $400 or $500 in a hurry. So that might save you a lot of trouble. Even if you just get a frame that you can recover, it'll save you stuff. So it depends on how complete it is. If it's just less motor and transmission, you know, a good solid one, I mean, $5,000 to $8,000, and I mean, you just have to see it. I mean, it's not sure. Yeah, full interior. Yeah, I mean, if it's got full interior, I mean, a good solid body that needs minimal rust repair. I mean, most of them I've seen that say no rust. They have some rust that's just not rusted through yet. There are quite a few that are clean and don't have any rust, but the price is so subjective, it's hard to say, but I would say, because very few rollers actually just need a motor transmission dropped in and you can go. Most of them need some wiring straightened out, some suspension stuff like that. But I would say if it's a solid car, doesn't need any glass, and the interior is 75% complete, I would say starting at $5,000 and going up. But then again, if nobody wants it, it doesn't matter. So, no rust, $9,000. So Limo's got one, no rust, and he wants $9,000 for it. And if it's, you know, really rust-free or really close to rust-free, and depending on how complete it is, that might be a really good price. Do I have other social media? What's the best way to get a hold of me? It would be cool to get some more advice from me for my build. Chris, you can go to Shop 209 on Facebook, and then a big oil leak. Okay, I got you. You can go to Shop 209 on Facebook page and send me a message there. I have that, and then I have email address, which should be in my YouTube About section. I've redone that several times, and sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, but it's johng@chameleoncustoms.com. But the fastest is just Facebook, Shop 209 Facebook. All right. But yeah, everything cracks. I'm going to do I've got several ideas for things for Chevy Novas that I'm not going to say they're better than anybody else's, but I think I've got some good ideas on some parts. I've just got to get I'm going to get a CNC plasma table very soon, and I'll start cutting out some stuff. I just got to get got to do some calculations on what all I need to build it out of and what's safe and what's not. What wiring kit are you going to use for the current project to make a video wiring the car? Yes, I plan on doing a whole wiring video. I'm thinking about doing the entire car, putting the whole car together, pretty much getting everything done, and then redoing the wiring, just because a lot of people that want to rewire the car, they don't have a car that's taken apart. So doing a video with the car completely apart and installing wiring is a different kind of video than doing one with an assembled car that has already existing wiring. So if I get all the wiring out of this, and then before the fenders are on and the engine's in and start wiring and all, it's a different experience than it is if you have a complete car that just needs rewiring because the factory harness is junk. Paid $4,500. Yeah, Little Chief, man, the values are going up. My buddy Brian, I think he paid $3,500 for 71, and then he needed a pretty good bit of work. Now, you know, depending on where you're at, you know, if you're in Ohio or Michigan or some of the places with all the salt on the road, the value of these cars is going to be, if they're not all rotted out, is going to be a little bit higher. And then if you're going to buy one out of state and have it shipped in, you're going to end up with the same money in it because of shipping and all that stuff. And then you don't know what you get if you can't go see it. Is there anyone that has done a 4-door to the conversion? Okay, Brandon. I've looked into this. You could do it, sure. The roof line on the 4-door, the problem is yeah, you can see this. The A-pillar on a 4-door is at a different angle than on a 2-door, and the windshield is taller. The section back here is different. So on the 66 and 67 Chevy Nova sedans, the roof line is the same on the 4-door and 2-door, I think. On the Chevelle sedans, the roof line is the same on the 2-door and the 4-door. On the hardtops, it's different. So those cars are like, and I could be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure. Those cars are like the Tri-5 Chevys, where the roof line is the same as the 2-door and the 4-door. So all you really need to do is move your B-pillar and hinge post or your latch post back and put a 2-door door on it and then fill in the rest. Dee's Speed Shop has done a bunch of those. I really want to do one of those, and eventually I'll have a 5. I want a 55 so bad I can't stand it, but I've got to get rid of about 5 Novas before I can get a 55 Chevy. Now, 66 or 67 Nova, if you have a sedan, that's probably not too hard of a swap to do, but on a 3rd gen, it's not going to happen, not in my opinion. All right, let's see. But yeah, as far as, I mean, and 4-doors are cool. If you do a 4-door right, they look great. Finding some of the parts you need are hard. I got Tyler, Texas. Have I heard about the bird, which is the bald eagle? I am lost. Unless you're talking about Cletus McFarland, I am lost. But yeah, Tyler, Texas, and got your 2,500 round trip. Yeah, and you know, I plan on doing. I've got some ideas for some road trip videos in the cars, and I mean, this one's going to Daytona, but that's only from my house to Daytona Beach is 350 miles. So that'll be a 700-mile round trip, plus all the food we go to eat in the evenings. So we usually, on my 73, we usually put 1,000 miles on it for the week of Daytona. We'll drive down on a Wednesday or something like that, come back Sunday, and it's got a 342 gear in it with a turbo 350 transmission. I drive it on the interstate, and I'll be doing 3,200 RPM at around 70, 75 miles an hour for hours. And you get to the hotel and all you can hear is, you hear the engine. But it's really fun. Can't find rear quarter pounders from 73 Nova. I can use, can I use quarter pounders from 72 Nova? Joel Rodriguez, yes, you can. Now, this is one thing that I thought about doing on right now, the 73, 74 I have, the quarter pounders are okay, so I don't, if I find another 73, and it needs quarters, if I find a good deal on one, I'll probably do this style quarter panel on a 73, 74. The difference is you can put this on there, you have to trim it at the top, and then you can leave the quarter windows down there. You put this on there, now it doesn't match the inside panel, but it will work. And then also what you can do is, what I did on my 73, I bought a quarter panel for one of these that didn't have the sail panel, and I cut it right here and went up right here. Now, the problem is trying to cut across this body line and make that pretty is very difficult to do, and I didn't do a good job of it. There's a lot of filler in this area of my car. But I cut it across here, went up here, and then I went over the body line here, and it kept the body line. And then I had to move the side marker forward to get out of the way of the bumper, put it in the right location. So you can use a older style quarter panel on the 73, 74s. There's a couple of ways to do that. Yeah, Lee, Mo, I'm not sure we're talking about the bald eagle, man. Help me out here. And I get a delay here, so if you've already sent it, you know. But yeah, one of the cars I've got here is a 4-door Nova. It's a 72 4-door Nova with a 307 and a Power Glide transmission. And it's really rusty, and it's rusty in some bad spots, like around the roof skin up here. And some of the drip rail's rusty, the back glass, that area is rusty, and then the floors and trunk are shot. So I'm not sure it's worth playing with as far as a 4-door. I'll probably use the subframe, the engine, and all that stuff out of it, and do something else with it. But I wouldn't mind building a 4-door, just that one's, if I'm going to build a 4-door, it's going to be a nicer shape than that one is. Not sure what time it is. Let's see. No problem, Joel. And one day I'll do a video on that, like I said, but there's several ways to get around that. You can change, there is a guy on one of the Facebook groups, he's got a 73, he changed everything, the quarter window, the inner structure, everything, the trunk. You cannot, from here back, you cannot distinguish his car from a 72. All right, 9:20, 9:30, so we're on here an hour and a half. All right, well, I'm out of Mountain Dew, which I've cut back a lot. This is only my third one for the day. Any more questions? We'll be cutting this off here in a few minutes. When is my next video coming out? Well, it was supposed to be out yesterday. And then I forgot I had something to do. And, well, I forgot. My wife didn't. So yesterday I didn't get to do what I needed to do. So the next video will be on replacing the metal in the inside quarter-pound structure and the rear deck filler. Here's the rear deck filler. So that video will probably be out Tuesday. And I've got a couple of ideas for other videos that'll probably be out in between working on this car. Some more Nova facts, some more Nova questions, stuff like that. I'm kind of compiling a list. I'm going to go over some stuff, some interesting stuff, production numbers, rare options. I'm going to do some videos about stuff like that. Things to look for buying a 350 for a rebuild. Things to avoid. All right. You don't have to have a 4-volt main unless you're building some real power. If you're 450 horsepower or less, a 2-volt main is fine. And honestly, if you're probably going to build a little bit more than that, you're fine. If you're going to do, if you're going to look for one, try to find one with that you can hear run. If it's going to be a used one, if it's going to be a core to rebuild, try to look out for deep gouges in the bugs. Try to look out for deep gouges in the cylinders if the heads are off. If not, make sure it turns over. Things like that. If it is assembled and it's claimed to be a running motor, see if you can at least hook a starter to it or a battery and do a compression check on it. Look for oil sludged up all in the valve covers and stuff like that. It's going to have more wear and tear. And realize that if you buy a used motor, it's almost going to be cheaper and better to replace the rods and crank instead of rebuilding the rods and crank that you have. It's usually about $100 or so to resize a set of rods. If you add in ARP bolts for it, you're looking at another $60, $70 for bolts. You got $200 in a set of stock rods that who knows how many cycles they've been through. All those metals have a fatigue cycle. Even if you replace the bolts, the rest of the metal, if they've been beat to death, they've got a certain amount of life in them. So I would just go with an aftermarket Scat or Eagle rod. As I-beam rods go, I like Scat because they're made out of 4340. The Eagle I-beams are 5140, I think. But less than 500 horsepower, it doesn't matter. As far as the crankshaft, an aftermarket cast steel crank is $200. It's going to cost you $100 or so to get it, or a little more to get a crank ground. So again, the rotating assembly is almost not important in a used engine if you're going to rebuild it, depending on how budget you're trying to do it. If it's already 30 over, going 60 over is fine. I wouldn't go 80 over on one, so I would try to avoid a used motor that's 60 over unless you're just going to run it as is. I wouldn't try to rebuild and bore it if it's already 60 over. But I'm not afraid to run one 60 over at all. Stuff like that. Tony, all right, I'm confused. What are you talking about, Brandon? You talking to me or Tony? What transmission would I choose for an LS build? Probably a 4L60 or a 4L80E, just because if I'm going that route, I can get one with that bolt pattern, and if I do an LS, I probably won't do carburetor. I'll probably do EFI on it, and then I'll get the Holley X Max where I have the transmission control available. So then I just use the 4L60E or 4L80E. Brandon, did you get Tony Genesio confused with Tony DeFeo from Uncle Tony's Garage? All right, but yeah, as far as the LS thing, like I said, I'd like to do an LS swap on one of these. And like I said, I'm not sure, once I get this back from Daytona, I'm not sure what my plans for this car are. It's gonna be pretty much all stock, exhaust manifolds, quadrijet intake, cast iron intake, stock, pretty much everything, drum brakes, so I could use it as a I could use it as a project car for disc brake swaps, all kinds of things. Or I could sell it and use it to buy something else cool for the channel. I'm not sure what I'll do yet. All right, let's see what else we got. Yeah, is anyone else, I think I asked earlier, is anybody else planning on going to the turkey rod run in Daytona for Thanksgiving? I know last week we had 1 or 2 people. The first day of the turkey run is on Thursday, yes. It starts Thanksgiving Day. We go down Wednesday and we go out there very first thing on Thursday morning. And by Saturday, I'm tired of walking around. But we go every day. We don't go Sunday. We're out there Thursday most of the day. We're out there Friday most of the day, and Saturday usually. Sometimes Saturday depends on how we feel and how busy it is. If a lot of people came in, a lot of people come in with swap meet on Saturday. They come in late and set up that day. So I'll start at the very back of the swap meet on Saturday and look at all the new booths. Cool, little chief. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like the Daytona swap meet. I used to like the hot dog lady that was there, but I guess she retired. There used to be a lady that we'd go to her little hot dog stand every year, and she's not there anymore. Last couple of years. No, I might have found a motor. One of my viewers, Ronnie, lives near Statesboro, Georgia. He doesn't live too far from me, an hour and a half or so, a couple of hours. And I'm going to see him this week. He's got a bunch of Nova stuff he's looking to sell. So I'm going to look at his stuff, see what'll work for me. Even if it's not for this project, I've got a few of these cars. So see if we can come to an agreement on stuff. He does have a motor that he says was in one of his cars. So depending on what all that turns out to be, I might have a motor. But if not, I need to find one. It's okay, Brandon, no problem. When I first saw him, I was thinking, hey, it's Tony from Uncle Tony's Garage, and I was like, no, it's not. It took me a minute. I remembered what Uncle Tony was Tony DeFeo, and I watch his channel. So he is building a pretty cool. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. I like all the projects he's got going. I like Bottle Rocket. I'm not crazy about Slant Sixes, but the Plan Z is pretty cool. And then they're doing the Junkyard Jet. I thought about doing something similar to the Junkyard Jet and seeing how cheap I could put together a drag car. Maybe not using a Nova because it's getting into a Nova is getting pretty expensive. Even though I got this one dirt cheap, I'm paying the price for the dirt cheap because I'm fixing tons of rust with patch panels, having to make stuff. Yeah, that happens every once in a while. Now, my neighborhood, the Novas in this neighborhood don't leave a lot of tire marks other than in my driveway. Just because I've got enough cars on my property, we got a couple acres, but I've got enough cars on my property and enough junk around here that I don't need to draw any attention to my house. So I leave the neighborhood and go do burnout somewhere else. But yeah, what kind of builds would you guys like to see? Budget stuff? Custom stuff? Can't wait to see how this Nova turns out. Great job on the video. Can't wait to see. Cool. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah. I think it's going to turn out good. And like I said, I might do more things with it after this little build thing is over with. I might do more things with it and keep this project going. I might sell it. And I'm trying to do a halfway decent job and not hack it up too much with my repairs. So if I do sell it, I'm not embarrassed about anything I did to it. So. An older Chevy truck, yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like a 60s, any mid 60s C10 or something like that. My dad had a 66 Chevy. I've wanted a 66 Chevy for a long time. 63s are cool. Just a DIY dad, a decent 70 Nova. The bodywork vids, yeah. And I'm not terrible at bodywork. I'm definitely not a professional. The guy that I learned pretty much every, other than what I've read in magazines and books and watched videos on, pretty much everything else I learned from bodywork is the guy I bought all the Novas from. If you see the video where I bought the 5 Novas, that guy helped me. He taught me how to do all the work I did in my 73. Now, some of that I did wrong, and it came back to bite me when the paint bubbled up, but that's my fault. But I learned a lot from him on doing body work. 735 black. Tommy, what year is your Nova? And all I would do, honestly, is I would go look at it on, I would go to novaresource.org, and you can look up your cow tag there. 65 GMC 1-ton dually. Oh, that's a pretty cool truck. And a 72 El Camino. I'd like to build a GMC truck with the GMC V12. That'd be a pretty cool build. But yeah, the bodywork vids, I could probably do some. I'm going to do a good video on the fender patch on the front of this car, and then stuff like that. So. You did that? Okay. Okay, oh, 735, okay. What color was interior my Nova? My code for mine was 735 black buckets. Okay, I misread your comment. Yeah, the interior in this one, if I remember correctly, was, I looked all this up. I think it was originally blue. The seat belts are blue. It was a black car, and I think it had blue seat belts in it. Let me look at the cow tag real quick, and I'll tell you. It's a 69, and it's 735 was the interior. So might have had black interior, and maybe somebody swapped the belts. Just a DIY dad, where are you? Raining Day has sold his last Nova build. He's on the hunt for another one. It's completed. All right. Got another 10 or 15 minutes. But yeah, so I've got these red seats for this one. I'll probably dye them black. And then I've got a, back seat frame I can use if I don't find a used back seat. North Carolina, I got you. And guys, if you're watching, you can go to my Shop 209 Facebook page, and if you want to post projects that you're working on, stuff like that, you can do that on there. Just go to the page and post your project up. We had a few guys post up last week. During the week, all the stuff they're working on is pretty cool. But yeah, the interior on this one, like I said, I'm not sure if I'll get a headliner in it. I'm going to at least clean the rust off the interior and I'll try to get the interior as complete as I can, but I'm on a limited budget, and I'll get the rust off, paint it, put some rust converter on it, and I'll put some sound deadener or something up there, and that might be all that I do to the interior as far as the roof goes. I'm not sure I'll have time to get a headliner put in it. Is the floor smooth enough to have bucket seats and column shift? In this car, yeah, I mean, it's I could do bucket seats and column shift. I was planning on putting a floor shifter in it because I've already got one, and I've got a Z-Gate AutoZone of all places had a sale on B&M Z-Gate shifters, and they were $79 a piece, which is normally a $200 shifter. So, but yeah, the floor smooth enough to put buckets and a column shift. Yeah, I could probably do that and not put the console or anything in it, just put the carpet over it. I still got to come up with some tracks for those Camaro seats. And one, if I'm correct, you're in UK or somewhere. Where are you at? New Zealand, UK? You're not. I'm thinking you're overseas somewhere. Yeah, like a Unimatic shifter, right? Pretty much the same thing. I like it without the console. As long as it's got some kind of case around the shifter, it looks good. Tommy Cook. This year I put the steel wheels and goggled the hubcaps and found an LED hood for something different everyone had. Yeah, and I agree. I put a cow hood on Frankenova because the flat hood wouldn't fit with the intake and carburetor stuff I had on there. So I would have Canada. Okay, my bad. You're still in North America. Yeah, I mean, and I'm using these 6-hole slot wheels, the 14 inchers, and I like being different too. I'm not going to be different just to be different, but some stuff is just overdone. Grumbly Kitten 68, you put a thermostat in your 350. Good deal. You wouldn't believe how many people screw that up. The biggest thing is they put the thermostat upside down, or they if you're using the stock cast housing, they get the thermostat cocked in there sideways, they bump it. Typically they leave the hose on it, and the hose moves for them, moves the thermostat over, gets trapped between the intake and the cast housing. When they tighten down, they crack the housing. I've seen that a lot. Been a long time, but yeah. The quarter panel and tail panel, the 69. Okay, Joe, so the 69 that I was doing the quarter panels and stuff on, that turned into a quite a project. So I am still making videos on that. I'm working on it. It ended up with inner and outer wheel houses, trunk floor, quarters. I mean, it's going to be a really nice car now, which means I'm going to have to sell it because it's going to be too shiny for me to own. But it's going to be a nice car. And I was going to do that Grudge Race Nova thing, and then I realized I already had Frankenova. I can put the 307 in there. It's going to be the same combination. Plus, Craig had a baby on the way, which he just had a couple of days ago. So that's kind of put off for right now. But that project is coming along, and that's going to be a quarter panel replacement, trunk floor replacement video, painting it, the whole deal. Yeah, the 6871 Pontiac Acadian is a Nova with a different grill. Yeah, those are cool cars. And the cool thing about the Canadian Chevys is all the Novas up there, they have all the documentation and the history of them. So if you had a real Super Sport up there, it's very easy to get all that documented. No, Joe, you didn't miss it. I'm trying to get better at my YouTube builds and video consistency and stuff like that. Will a 2-inch drop coil still fit a 205/60/15? 6 offset on 15x7 wheels. All right, a 2-inch drop with a 205/60. Probably. You're talking on the front, I assume. It just depends on. Okay, 6 offset or backspacing. Which one you talk? Because that's two different things. Offset is a little bit different than backspacing. Depending on the width of the wheel, if it's an 8-inch wheel and you're 4-inch backspacing, you have 0 offset. If you have 5-inch backspacing, your offset is different because the width of the wheels changes. Anyway, so I'm not sure there. I have ran a 205/60/15 on a car, but that's going to be a while back. I don't know that I've ran it with a 2-inch drop, but you're probably not going to have. I know 235 with a 2-inch drop clears, but it's been a while, so I'm not positive. had a 68 white SS Nova with black racing stripes and a 4-speed. Yep, that's a cool looking car. Yes, front with 3 1/4 inch backspacing. Gotcha. Yes, Frankenova is going to get a green wrap. Probably what I'm going to do there. I've already got the wrap. I bought it. I kind of sat on it for a while thinking, you know, so what I'll do is I'll prep Frankenova for paint. I'll get it in primer. And then once the primer's cured good, I'll wrap it to see if I like the paint or like the color. And just to get an experience wrapping a car. If it turns out to be a disaster, like the headliner in my 73, then I'll just pull the wrap off of it and paint it. I'll probably do both anyway. I'll probably paint it either way, but it's going to be green. Because if it's called Frankenova, what else? I'd have to paint it green, right? Round 1, grown to be one of my favorite channels. I love Novas. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I'm trying to build this thing up. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Tommy. I'm not big on the drop spindles. If you're going to lower the front of the car, the spindles are probably the better way to go because you're just moving the tires up and all of your other geometry stays the same. Should be. So it doesn't really change anything. If you start cutting springs or lowering springs, you change the relative position of your control arms at ride height and things like that, so it can mess up or change bump steer and everything else. So I like using coilovers on the front of the car instead of the drop spindles, but you know, that's a whole different game. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Round 1. I appreciate it, guys. One is asking that Grumble Kitty if she had red, white, or black interior. My first car was a 71 that was blue on the outside and had blue interior, blue dash, blue everything. I blew the motor, that too. All right, guys, we got 12 more minutes. I'm cutting this off at 10. I keep saying I'm only going to do this for 30 or 40 minutes, and I stay out here for 2 hours. But I have a good time, so that's all that matters. But yeah, I would like to do. I've got some good ideas for videos, so I'm going to have a bunch more videos this year. A lot on this car. Frank and I was going to the drag strip. Maybe this week. I haven't even checked to see if the track's open. But if the track's open this week, I'll try to get Frank and over to the drag strip Friday night. And then I've got some stuff I want to do to my 73. I've got Henry J stuff planned. Eventually I'm going to do a video on this truck back here. It's still going to stay 99% Novas, but I've got some other stuff I will work on. I agree. I mean, I like black interior on my cars, but it's interesting to see some of them that are the different colors of the car, and it's interesting to see the different colors in the interior. I think red interior color is probably the most rare interior color. Red or white. And the 71 I have in storage, it had a factory white interior, which is pretty cool. Probably white or red, the most rare. I'm not sure if there was any other, I'm not sure if there was ever any orange or yellow interiors or anything like that available. Could be. I think once you got an orange car or a yellow car, you got black or white interior. Yep, as far as this build goes though, I'm going to put the 2 seats in it. I'm going to put the Z-gate shifter in it. The dash pad I'm going to clean up real good. It doesn't have air in it. I am going to get the heat working because sometimes in Daytona in November it can be really cold at night. So if we drive around anywhere, it's going to be an advantage to have heat. Everyone wants to pick my brain for info. Well, I'm right here, man. Thank you, Round 1. Yeah, hit the like button. and I'm gonna put more effort into getting more stuff out. It's been a difficult summer. Superbad Gasser, yes sir. Hope I might do next Saturday night instead of Sunday, since Sunday is Halloween. I might do, and I've got grandkids that'll have to go out, so I won't be available Sunday night. And I'm not even sure what night we're celebrating Halloween here. They move it depending on the night of the week and school, and I don't know why we just can't have it on the 31st when it's Halloween. But anyway, I'll probably do live Saturday night, and depending on if I have some help to do the camera, that way I can hear the questions as I'm taking apart the transmission. Hopefully I get it apart. Hopefully I won't embarrass myself. But yeah, Joe, y'all ask away. Anybody ask questions. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to make up something good. All right, we're winding down. We've got a couple more minutes left. About 6 more minutes left. Any other questions? Yeah. I'm looking forward to the Daytona trip. It'll be a good trip. The good thing is the vent windows are in pretty good shape. I say I don't want to move. Whatever. Now I look stupid, but yeah, the rubbers are in pretty good shape on those. The weather stripping is, unless I open it and tear it, then it won't be. But cool, man. Yes, sir. Enjoyed it. What I'm probably going to do is have a video out on the quarter panels and the rear deck filler Tuesday. I don't think I can get it done tomorrow. I can get the video out. I'll probably get it done and edited tomorrow, and then have it out Tuesday morning. And then I'll work on the taillight panel and the trunk and get those two done Tuesday and have that video out probably Thursday morning. So I'm going to get at least 2 videos out this week. I know I tried to do the every 3 days video thing, and it's just difficult to get out here and have time to do that. And then it takes me, depending on how many clips I take, usually I'll have 30 to 60 video clips to put together. I've got to download them from my memory card into my computer, put them all in a file, upload them to my editing software, and then go through. Really, I've got to watch them first and figure out which ones I want to keep or scrap. And then I move them into the editing software. It usually takes me 45 minutes to upload. If I've got 30 or 40 clips to upload, it takes me about 30 minutes to upload those from the memory card. Then it takes me an hour to get them sorted, watching all of them at least, and then another hour or 2 of editing. So usually it takes me about 4 hours to edit a video. Then it takes another, depending on how long, a 20-minute video takes about 45 minutes to an hour for the software to process and turn into an MP4 file. And then it takes me another 30 minutes to upload it to YouTube, depending on how long it is. So usually I have 5 or 6 hours pretty easy in a video, getting it done and getting it ready to post. RPM Garage, need a driver's side vent window assembly. You know, that's an interesting question. I'm going to take one of the vent windows I've got, and I'm going to take it over to the 4-door that I've got, and I'm going to look and see if the vent windows on the 2-door and the 4-door are the same. They might be. I know the A-pillar is at a different angle on a 4-door, very slight. And I know that because I've got some of the drip rail trim from the 4-door, and it doesn't fit the 2-door A-pillar. It's different. It's a little bit different top. The vent window may be the same. I'm not certain. Need to check that out and see. If not, I might have a driver's door vent window. I've got a front door from a 4-door out here behind the shop. I can't remember if it's driver's side or passenger side. I'm not sure if you can cut it. I'm not sure if 4-door vent windows the same or not. And I'm sure you could probably cut it down and make it work. The windows are the same. Okay, cool. Yeah. I know the windshields are not the same, and it's taller, and I think I think the A-pillar is at a little bit different angle, but it'd be nice if that would work. I'll look and see if I've got a, you can message me on my Shop 209 Facebook page if you want to, and I'll look and see tomorrow if I've got the driver's or passenger door. I'm not sure which one I've got. And somebody asked me the other day, I meant to message him back about the routing of the power steering lines. So if you're watching, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you. I got home late. And then I forgot until just now. All right. Couple more minutes. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Thank you. Wyatt, you are buying a 77 Nova. There's something wrong with the fuel system. I just don't know what it is. Any tips on how to figure out what it is? Thanks. If it's been sitting a long time, yes, sir, Ronnie. I'm bringing the trailer with me. Thank you. If it's been sitting a long time, Wyatt, probably going to be a lot of rust in the tank, or the pickup itself going to have a lot of rust in it. The diaphragm and the actual fuel pump could be bad. It just depends. Sometimes they'll have, so the gas tank mounts in the back, and when your pickup leaves the gas tank, between there and the solid line on the frame rail, there's a very short rubber hose. If that gets a hole in it, your fuel pump won't pick fuel up. It can be just cracked, so you can have one not picking up, and a lot of people have that problem. They change the fuel pump, and it still doesn't fix the problem, and they park the car. And it's all because air was getting in the line, and the fuel pump couldn't get any fuel from the tank. So check that. Also on the subframe, or on where the subframe and the body meet together on the passenger side, there's another 4-inch connector between the front frame line and the rear frame line that connects those two together. That can have the same problem, have air in it, and keep your pump from pulling air. Then you could have a bad fuel pump. You could have clogged up sock on your pickup in the tank, which is a way bigger problem because you have to drop the tank. There's 2 or 3 things you can have right there that can cause that. John Fraser, I'm doing the same thing as you with my Nova. My last project I took apart in 5 years. You said something that made so much sense. Getting it done, working on it. That's right. And look, you can't really do a floor or, a complete restoration on the car if you're driving it, but you can definitely do certain things. If you have a complete Nova that you're driving daily, if you don't need a ton of stuff replaced on the back, you can do a quarter panel in a weekend if you really bust your butt and plan out everything ahead of time and know what you're going to need. You can do a quarter panel in a weekend. It's a pretty good job to do in a weekend, but you could do one. Really, I think get it running and driving the best you can. There's a lot of things you can do while you're driving it and enjoying the car that are, one-day projects on a Saturday or maybe even a weekend project. If it's not your daily driver, if you don't have to have it to get to work, you could be down a week, and do two or three good sized things. So, what's the best budget front disc brake conversion for 73 Ventura? It depends. If you want to go to powered disc, I like the Summit sells a kit, but a lot of the kits don't come with any kind of mass cylinder. And if you've got all drums now, you're going to need a proportioning valve, because what you have now is just a distribution block and check valve stuff. But you're going to need a proportion or combination valve. Really, it's more than one thing. You're going to need a combination valve, mass cylinder, and booster if you want power, or you're going to need just the booster and the combination valve to bracket. You're going to need a few things to do the front disc conversion. Sometimes the lines are different that go into the distribution block or the combination valve. So there's a few things like that you're going to need. Very few companies sell everything you're going to need in one kit. I've done the Right Stuff disc brake conversion kit on a couple of my cars and a friend of mine's car. I usually buy the Right Stuff brake line kit to go with it, so that I know I've got all the right brake lines, the hard lines, and soft lines come with it. The front soft lines come with it. But I usually replace the front to rear brake line and all the front brake lines on the hard lines on the front, and they sell a kit for that. But as far as a budget kit for that, I mean, they make some other kits that are wheel kits, and it comes with everything you need for the wheels, and then you figure out the rest. But you're gonna write stuff is good, and then Summit doesn't make any parts, so whatever kit they're selling is someone else's part that they're just rebranding with their name on it. So it's probably made by someone good. Now, at some point, Stainless Steel Brake Company was selling much stuff and they went out of business. And I wouldn't buy any old stock of their stuff unless you verify you can get replacement parts for it. Because I want to say when they stopped answering the phones here a year or two ago, and a lot of people were stuck needing parts and couldn't get them. And it's proprietary stuff. It was made by them. It was good stuff, but whatever happened, I'm not sure what happened there. And maybe that's been fixed and they're back around. I'm not positive, but just make sure you buy stuff you can get replacement parts for. Speedway Motors makes a nice kit, right? And whatever kit Speedway Motors making is probably the same thing Summit sells. It just depends on how complete of a kit you want. You're right, Joe. All right, guys, it's 10 o'clock. Alfredo Garcia, have you ever done a 69 Nova back window conversion to make it look like a 6972 on a 7374? Yeah, the window's the same. If you're unless you're talking about a hatchback. I've got a 74 trunk car, Alfredo. Yeah, Lunar Outlaw. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, guys. Hit the like for me. Thank you. I've got a 74 trunk car, not a hatchback, and I converted the rear tail panel and all of that to look like the 68 and 72. Now, if you have a hatchback car, you can convert that to a trunk style car and convert it to the older style. You're going to need either to fabricate a lot of stuff or you're going to have to find a donor car, because all of that area where the hatch goes down and you've got the seat back there, there's no package tray and all that stuff. It's totally different. So it would be much more difficult to convert a hatchback to the older style, but you can do it if you want to convert the window and all. The taillight panel is not that big a deal. But if you want to convert all of the trunk lid and all that stuff, you're going to need the torsion bars, the package tray, the rear seat divider tray. All of the inner structure is different around that stuff for a hatchback. So that would be a pretty good job to do. And if you had enough stuff, you could do it. All right, guys, listen, I'm gonna cut it off right here. You guys, new video out in the next couple of days. I'm gonna get at least 2 out this week, and gonna try to get a live video Saturday night, taking apart the transmission, and then there will be a rebuild video on the transmission. So appreciate you guys hanging out with me for a couple of hours. I've enjoyed it. Don't forget to go back and watch some of my videos. A lot of the questions you guys answered, I have answered in other videos or have good videos on them, or I'm going to try to get new videos out and get them done. So if you have some questions or something like that, hit me up on Shop 209 on Facebook. You can post your projects there. You can send me messages, stuff like that. And we'll see you next video, guys. Thank you.